Hi guys, this is Rayner for Team Nautil, and I'm just going to give you a quick review of what I've achieved, and well, I should say achieved, what I feel them as achievements, what I've done in 2012 in trading card games. Basically, I started off the year after Brighton deciding that I'd not really done Brighton properly, and I thought I should be doing a bit better. So I started working really hard in the early months to make sure I had a deck capable of winning or doing really well at the regionals in Glasgow in March. That was on the 31st. That was the last tournament of the Costa year. And I ended up running wind-ups there, but I couldn't afford tour guides at the time. So I ended up running Marauding Captains and Rota instead. My build was basically the standard wind-up engine, but I was running 2 Marauding Captain and a Reinforcement of the Army instead of running the tour guides. I was still running a Sangan, just because it's a brilliant turn 1 play. And I ended up going 6-0 at that tournament. I beat the likes of Insectors, Rabbit, and the Mirror that was running tour guides. So I felt really, really chuffed with that. I ended up losing in the, I think we did a top 8 that yeah, I lost in the top 8 to Daniel Cairns, who was running Insector, and that was just, he opened the nuts and I didn't open the nuts, so it was a good game to him. But after that, I decided that I'd had enough of wind-ups and I was going to switch to Insectors, and I was going to use that at Euros. I decided by that point I was going to go to Euros. I was just looking for someone to go with, and I ended up deciding to run the Insectors at Nationals. I ended up going to Nationals, and day 1 I went X3, which wasn't great, but it was an improvement on what I did at Brighton, which was what the benchmark I was setting of. Because at Brighton I went X5. It was my first major tournament on a proper level, so I felt really good that I had a decent record on day 1 of Nats. So I felt reasonably comfortable with that, but 2 of my mates went on to the day 2 and ended up finishing top 16, top 8, so it was a good day all round. And day 2 I ended up playing in the trad format tournament, where I borrowed one of my mates' Dino Rabbits and ended up basically taking out the entire spell and trap lineup, spell and trap lineup, and put in Confiscation, Delinquent Duo, Regeki, Harpy's Feather Duster, Forceful Sentry, stuff like that, along with Crush Card Virus, Imperial Order, stuff to stop my opponent FTKing. I was expecting a lot of FTK decks. I played up against 2 of the Exchange the Spirit, and I ended up beating them both. I think the first one was purely because Lagia kills things. Lagia's a great play, which nobody there was expecting to play Dino Rabbit, which I felt it was a good call in the end to go with Rabbit and just chuck in the every single broken spell card and what I felt were the 2 best trap cards for what I was going up against. So I ended up going 6-0 over the entire tournament. I think there was only 12 of us, but the fact that I beat 2 FTK decks and ended up winning 53 boosters, the prize was 100 boosters for the winner, but me and the guy I was playing, we decided that between 6 boosters and 100 boosters, it really wasn't worth losing out on 94 boosters, so we ended up just splitting, because, well, he was playing Exchange of the Spirit. If he won the die roll, he should have won. He won the die roll, I won. I don't know how, I don't know if it was his misplays or just not getting the right draws or what, but I ended up winning. I felt a bit gutted afterward, but I made the safe option and got 50 odd packs out of it, so I can't really complain. And then I went to Euros in Milan, where basically it was my first Yu-Gi-Oh event outside of the UK, and I went day 1, I was 3-1, and I was sitting thinking, right, if I can just get to day 2, just finish X2, X3, I'd be really happy with myself. Sitting X1 after 4 rounds, I thought, I've not got to do too much to get a bit further on. And then I end up finishing 4-4. I should have finished 5-3. I made a really reckless play in round 8, where basically I'm playing against Dino Rabbit. I end up trying to force the game into action awfully quickly, which I shouldn't have done, and that cost me the entire game. I played, out of my 8 rounds, I played 4 Dino Rabbits, and I beat 2 of them, and I should have beaten that 3rd one. So I felt that was a fairly good effort for running Inzectors, seeing as Inzectors isn't not a particularly good matchup for against Dino Rabbit. I felt I did all right. Day 2, I didn't really do much. I was just chilling. I wanted to see a bit of Milan. I wanted to catch up with friends that I'd met at Brighton. So I didn't really end up doing anything. I played a couple of Winamats, but wasn't really interested in them. I was speaking to other guys from the UK. I was socialising more day 2 than playing. But that's what I always intended to do. Then my next tournament, I took a bit of not a break, but I just didn't have any major tournaments for a while. And the next one was in October, and that was my Card Fight Vanguard Nationals, where there was a lot of discussion about going to this tournament because it was double round elimination. So if you lost 2 games, you were out, and it was only single games, not matches. So if you lost 2 single games or 2 opening bad hands, you were done. That was you. But basically, I ran a deck that I felt was most consistent for that format, where I was running Oracle Think Tank, where basically you had Tsukiyomi Stack Tank. Basically, it meant that you had 11 cards to check for your grade 1, rather than with every other deck you get 6. So I felt just that little bit of extra consistency and that extra little +1 might end up just winning it for me. And I ended up going in 8 rounds of double elimination. I finished 8-0. It was only me and one other guy that finished 8-0. And he's one of the guys that went on to do the commentary of Day 2 with Card Capital. That was Max Phillips. He's a really nice guy. And then the top 8, I played Andrew Lammy from Manchester and lost to him. He's Spike Brothers. It was the only game that I badly misrode. It was a game where basically I had my CEO, my Vanguard, couldn't get any other supporting units, and he was playing Spike Brothers. I needed more units. I needed to be able to kick him more. But I couldn't do anything, and basically just overpowered me way too quickly, and I lost. But sod's law, it had to be that round. If that was a previous round, I might have ended up winning some more. But hey ho, you can't do anything about that now. But it's just annoying that I was 3 games away from making Euros, and then from that another few games away from Worlds. Could go on all day, but I was happy with what I did. I didn't expect to do anything like that. I was just going there for the fact that I love Vanguard and wanted to do really well at it. So that was that. Day 2, we started off with the team tournament, where it was me, Andy, who's part of the team, and Jason Leong from Dundee. Well, he's at St Andrews at the moment, but he's from Dundee. And he was Jason was running Novas, Andy was running Golds, and I was running Oracles. After the day 1 performances, I decided that basically I'll take the brunt of all the strong players as player number 1. Andy as Golds would take player number 2, try and overpower some of the other good players, and then Jason would be player 3. And in the team event, we had 5 rounds of elimination. I can't remember what the format was exactly, but it was 5 rounds. We went 4-1 as a team, and I didn't lose any matches. One game I was extremely lucky. I was playing against Spectral Duke, and basically all I had to do on the triple check from Duke, if you got 1 trigger, he won. He didn't, so I won. It was just that close. But he did get a few triggers earlier on, and that kind of balanced out, because after that was done, we watched Andy's game next to me, and he ended up losing a game that he should have won because he didn't account for his opponent getting a double heal. The opponent gets double heal, yeah, it happens, but if he'd actually thought about the chance of that happening, he would have been able to beat him anyway, which was a bit annoying because that would have meant, because that was the team that went on to win it. So it did get to me a little bit that it was one misplay when I didn't really misplay the entire day. And then after that we went on to do Free Fight, where this was playing for promos, and I end up just mucking about against a heap of people I'd met on day 1 and some other random people, and I end up going 6-0 in Free Fight, which I didn't expect to do anywhere near as well as I had. I know that was basically friendlies, but it was about as good as it could have gone over the entire weekend. But that was all for that, and then we were back on to Yu-Gi-Oh! For the winter season, and it was the regional qualifier in Glasgow in November. Basically, I decided that I need to qualify for Euros, get it done, get it out early, and I was playing Geargia Machina. I felt that Machina Fortress is too good a card not to run at that time and point, because this was before anyone had enough of Mermails. I only knew there was one guy that was going to run it, and he didn't have any Megalo, so I thought, right, there's not going to be anyone else. I can get away with running Machina Fortress. Machina Fortress is too good a card not to run. I've been 2-5 when it's 9 times out of 10 going to nick a card out your opponent's hand or destroy a card on their field. That seems pretty good. But basically, I end up going 5-0-2, and in the top 8, I beat Dave, and then top 4 didn't happen because we had to leave to get our train. But I was really happy with that. I won a quarter of a box, half a box, and I pulled a Queen Tiaramisu, which basically paid for my entry, which I was quite happy with that. And then after that tournament, I decided I would switch to Mermails, which is the water shenanigans that's going on at the moment. And basically, it was Cardendon regionals at the weekend just past, and I went 3-2 with Mermails. I didn't like my build. I don't think I tested enough my Mermails in person enough. I'd done it on DN, and it was just autopilot, really. I should have tested it more in person, but my locals is to the stage now where it's very difficult to test at the moment. But I end up selling my Mermails now just so I can go to Euros. I got £250 for it, so it means I've got enough money to go to Euros next year. To YCS Botcham, sorry. But yeah, that was that. So that's my last thing. I've now switched to running my Geared yet again and Agents. Those are my 2 decks at the moment. Agents seems to be a go-to choice. It's very, very good. I've always liked Agents. I should have run it at YCS Brighton. I didn't. I thought that running plants would be more consistent. It wasn't. Hey ho, it happens. And then after the Yu-Gi-Oh at Cardendon, there was a Card Fight Vanguard tournament. There was 12 people entered. I'm counting this as a fairly big tournament because of where we were. There was a lot of players from out with the area, and basically I end up going 4-1. The only game I lost was where the guy made a absolutely crazy play. He was running Angel Feather. He had his Vanguard, the booster for the Vanguard, and then I called him a 4-14. Just like, okay, I don't care. He's not going to be able to hit me. His Vanguard attacks, it was something, basically I called 2 triggers, and he reveals a crit for the first one, and he gives it all to the Vanguard, and I'm like, well, that's a bit silly. If he doesn't get anything else, he's dead. At least give it to the other one, so it means I'm going to have to waste more hand cards to try and do anything. And then he gives it all to the Vanguard, second check, another crit. What do you do? What do you do? But that's Vanguard. So I'm on 5 damage, I take 3 damage. I'm not going to rip a triple heal. Hey ho, it happens. But that was the only game I lost. The rest of the tournament was really good. I ended up finishing 2nd overall, so I won a playset of Flirtatious Succubus, which I was really happy with, and 2 of the green promo pack. And teammate Mitch finished 1st. He went 5-0, and he won a Kai playmat and Kai sleeves, along with 2 green promos. We were really pleased with what we did there. He wasn't so happy with how he did in the Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think he was enjoying the Yu-Gi-Oh more than he thought he would, which is always good because he's a bit iffy on the Yu-Gi-Oh at the moment because he's enjoying Vanguard that much, which is why we started up the channel as a Vanguard side of things, and I'm still the Yu-Gi-Oh player, so I do the Yu-Gi-Oh content and they help on the Vanguard side of things. But that's basically just a rundown of what I personally have achieved during this year. I'll try and speak to Andy and Mitch and see if I can get a video similar to this of them and do something like that. I think this is... I just need to talk and get this out because I felt that if I write it up, nobody's going to have a look at it. Probably nobody's going to have a look at this either, but if you have, thank you very much. This is Rayner for Team Nociel. Thanks for watching.